Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Yeah! Amazing. I'm Sedra Shamali. I'm 15 years old, and I'm really excited to be here. Just to tell you about a little bit about myself, I'm originally from Syria, and Syria is a place that has been overtaken by war, and I'm one of the lucky people who was able to flee the harsh circumstances in my home country and go on a journey to find safety. And I say I'm lucky despite everything that my family has been through, so many things that made us hover between life and death, because I did get the chance to enter a secure and safe community we live in now in Canada, and I did make it, unlike all of the kids my age who are still suffering in my home country and around the world in refugee camps. So along with my passion for helping other children my age, and along with my life story and my inspiration from my parents, I started an Elegant Art, which is an organization made by me and my sister at the ages of 11 and 9 years old. And Elegant Art is an organization that highlights the voices of children in refugee camps through the power of art, which we think is a global language where we can use to communicate with all the other children around the world and let them know of the existing issues. And so we draw pictures that represent the suffering of children in refugee camps, and we turn them into plantable postcards that are made out of wildflower seeds, and they're 100% plantable. So we use art and sustainability in a mixture to let the world know of the voices of children. And we are looking towards expanding and helping so many more children around the world because it's such an important and overlooked issue. And now I really want to take the time to reflect out loud with all of you here. And I want to spill my profound feelings on this very stage. Starting Elegant Art at the age of 11 years old was not easy at all, because I was taking the experience that has caused so much trauma for me and turning it into a positive way to help others and really share my story and share the story and the voices of all of the children who weren't heard by all of the world. And no one really knew much about the Syrian refugee crisis when I first started, and no one really took the time to care, listening from a child who they think is not experienced. So raising awareness was not an easy thing to do in the community I lived in, but then came one of the kindest and most amazing individuals named Zain Hindawi, and she really took that hand of ours and supported us on this journey. And Zain Hindawi is the Youth Engagement Manager at Plan International Canada. And she supported us in so many ways than you can even imagine. And she was as a hero to us. And in a child's eye, someone who comes in and really helps you and supports you on the journey that you're taking on, that not many other children are taking, is so incredible. So I do want to thank her in this space for all the support that she has given me and my sister, young children who just started an initiative to help other young children. So because of her kind words, we felt so supported. So I want you all to know that being kind and supporting other youth who start initiatives is extremely important. You never know how a word can really influence a child on the long run. So I really want to emphasize on that. And youth must be supported by community members, but just as much from their parents as well. My dad over here in the audience in the back has been give him a round of applause, please. Yes, thank you. He has been really my source of inspiration and motivation to start this initiative and to help others like me, because he's incredible, and he really emphasized on telling me that he was proud of me. And that word, when you hear that from a refugee parent, from an immigrant parent per se, it really holds so much power, because you know how expectant these families are, having fled their home country, having lost everything. They need a fresh start, something that includes success. So I encourage all of the parents here today, and do any of you have any children? With a show of raise of hands? Yes, amazing. Okay, so my message is directed towards you. I really emphasize on telling your children that you are proud of them. I know that it might be sort of awkward to say that to your children, but I know that it can mean so much, and even on the long run. And now that I highlighted kind of who I am, what I do, and what I want you all to do, I want to tell you why young people like us deserve the support that I'm telling you to give us. Well, we're individuals with a very strong voice. In fact, young people today are the biggest part of the population, and that's based on research. And we have so much potential and so many ideas we can contribute to give a fresh perspective to all the adults in the room. So we should be supported in order to tell our own stories and to make decisions for our own self, because spaces like this that talk about refugees, that put rules in place for children, need children in these places to actually have the most effect in the long run. And yesterday at an event I went to, someone said, if decision makers make decisions about us in this context, youth, and they are making these decisions without us, the youth, then these decisions are made against us. And that really resonated with me, and that speaks to my message here today. And now let me stop telling you about what we can do as youth, and let me start showing you together with Naya here. On the topic of the GRF, since this is the last day, we want to reflect about what we want the Global Refugee Forum to improve on and what we found wonderful in this space. And we have hope that this time youth can be involved in making the Global Refugee Forum in the next 4 years. So I'll start off. In this year's Global Refugee Forum, I loved how more refugee voices were highlighted. Last Refugee Forum, we had only about 60 refugee voices highlighted, which I find a bit kind of surprising, since this space is all about refugees. But now we have, yeah. But now we have 300 refugee voices highlighted, so this is a big improvement, and I see that continuing to improve on in the long run. And I also loved how the GRF's events had a different theme in each event. We weren't just repeating the same words, we weren't repeating the same messages, we were highlighting different, very important issues that need to be highlighted, and I really appreciated all of the conversations that I heard about that. And although this forum is definitely amazing, there are some areas of lack and that we need to focus on to improve in the long run. So first of all, youth voices. When you went to an event, especially high-level events, and looked around, did you see youth sitting everywhere? Yeah, no. There weren't youth in these events, and me and Naya, fellow youth and people who are 15 and 16, we didn't see people like us. We didn't feel supported in these spaces. So that's not what we expect from spaces like this. We want our values, our ideas, and our voices to be represented. So I urge that this issue can be taken and that we continue to improve on youth voices. And I did see an improvement as well. The second thing I will discuss in terms of improvement is that we need to have more high-level decision makers start speaking authentically, not just kind of reading off of a script, although I know that it's politically kind of important to read the commitments, but I also want them to also speak based off of what they truly think and kind of comment on the events. And I can talk for very long about this, and that was just me showing you my perspective on the Global Refugee Forum and sort of a reflection, but I'd like to pass it on to Naya now to share her thoughts as well.
Hi. Hi everyone. Hi, my name is Naya and I am 16 years old. I will first start with what I thought about the GRF, and I definitely think we could improve some more things. So I think there weren't lots of local organizations. There are only very few organizations, and while these impact the people more, I only saw mostly big organizations that don't have to do a lot with the people directly. Also, there was a lot of misinformation. Some people claimed very, very awful things about the refugees in different countries. I've heard a lot about very negative things about Syrian refugees. This was terrible to me because I have read many research that was definitely uncertain and that was not true what they said about, for example, I heard that there is no racism about refugees, Syrian refugees, while lots of research have come out with that some of the countries who mentioned this have the most racism against refugees in the world. But what I did really like is networking and meeting all these inspiring people, all the refugees that were here. It was such an honor to hear from them, to see these happy people who got over all the troubles they have been through and talk about themselves. And it was very inspiring. Till the moment of now, I feel very inspired, and I will go back home very happy with everything I have went through now. So I also want to talk a bit about myself, because the past few days I have only been talking about Naya as a youth ambassador for Save the Children in the Netherlands. But I want you to look at me through a different perspective. In 2007, 30th of May, that's the day when I was born. As a child, I felt a sense of fulfillment with my identity. I never was insecure. I had joy, happiness in my life, but then the war broke out. It was terrible losing my friends, my family, and hiding my mother's arms during demonstrations where we fought for our lives. These demonstrations meant a lot because it was either losing your family, your friends, your community, or it would be losing your own life trying to fight for your human rights. You'd think I'd be glad after my arrival to the Netherlands, but I was indeed not. The guiltness for my grandma, for my family, my friends who I don't know if they even exist, it was eating me up inside. In the Netherlands, I entered a new phase in my life. A permanent one too, because it would never be the same anymore. As I suffered through my mental health, I had these imaginations of losing my parents being taken away from me and killed right in front of my eyes. Nightmares of all the terrible horrors I went through. It was as if I was reliving the horrors of the war, but trapped in my own mind. This is when I sought for psychological support. It was accessible, but it wasn't prioritized. It was very hard because you had to ask your parents for it. And in our culture, psychological support is a huge taboo. This is like, it's seen for the crazy people. It's not for the regular, stable people like us. No. So, till the moment of now, many children have still not had the psychological support they need. While getting the support I wanted, I would get bullied every day at school. Let's not forget all the troubles you also go through, except all the traumas and all the horrors you have to get over. You also live a life at school, getting bullied about the lack of Dutch I had, the second-hand clothing I wore, the very few toys I had. The children around me almost made me feel worthless. My psychologist made me feel safe. She supported me with all the obstacles that happened to me that I didn't choose. Before all of this, I was just a regular child with a regular family, and regular friends, just like the rest. I'm a child. I didn't choose to be a refugee too. Thank you.